This video is brought to you by the Sapphire Pulse range of RADEON GPUs. Way back in September of 2012, a small team of modders going by the name The Crowbar Collective released Black Mesa Source, a modification for Half-Life 2 which aimed to recreate the original Half-Life from the ground up on Valve's Source engine. The mod itself had been in development for quite some time, with it initially being announced back in 2005, however development was said to have started back in 2004. So in total, nearly 15 long years have passed since the project was initially announced, and yet up until now, Black Mesa has remained somewhat incomplete, with both the free mod version that was released in 2012 and the Steam Early Access release from 2015 still lacking the Xen Chapters, which appeared towards the end of the original Half-Life. However, as you can likely tell from the footage in this video, that is all about to change. Early last week, the developers released an update that grants access to what they are calling the Xen Technical Beta, which consists of 3 of an expected 19 maps that will spread across 4 missing chapters. We also know that there is an extension to the Technical Beta planned for the beginning of August that should contain 2 full chapters worth of gameplay, with a full release following shortly after. Now, providing that you own a copy of Black Mesa on Steam, you yourself can jump into the Xen Technical Beta. All you need to do is simply right click on the game in your Steam library, select Properties, flip on over to the Beta tab and then select Public Beta in the drop down menu. Once you've done this, Steam will download an update. Once downloaded, launch the game and open up the console and type in SV_unlock chapters space 19 and then hit enter. Now go to new game and you should be able to scroll right along to the Xen chapter and jump straight in. I will also include a link to the official how to get into the beta guide down in the description below this video. One thing that I do want to make super clear before we go any further is that the developers would really prefer that most people avoid the beta and just wait until the content is completely released. I just thought I would say this here. Now, while I am covering this because I do believe that Black Mesa is awesome and that the Xen chapters are looking incredible, at least from what little we get to see in the current beta, I have to admit that this video is somewhat of a personal project of mine since I actually owe quite a lot to this game. You see, way back in 2012, a young, fresh-faced Pixel, that's me by the way, was just starting to cut his teeth on YouTube content creation. At the time, I was sitting somewhere around a couple of 100 subscribers and I was seriously having to consider hanging up the keyboard and mouse to focus on getting a real job. Up until that point, I had mostly been focusing on doing first impressions videos, gameplay videos, and even some tips and tricks videos. I'd never actually attempted anything along the lines of a Let's Play series. However, when Black Mesa Source was released, there were actually quite a few issues with the file hosting, meaning that it was incredibly difficult to get your hands on it. Thankfully, a friend of mine managed to find a cheeky little BitTorrent link that was, even if only very slowly, able to download the entire mod. While downloading, I was keeping an eye over on YouTube to see what kind of content was being uploaded, and there was none. This was obviously not because there was no interest, because at the time there was a lot of hype around this game, but simply because, just like I said, nobody could get their hands on it due to the file hosting issues. Knowing that there was the possibility of being one of, if not the first channels on YouTube to start a Let's Play, playing something that a lot of people were very excited about at the time, I decided to give it a shot, and that decision changed everything for me. Not only did my channel jump up from a few hundred subscribers to a few thousand overnight, it also enabled me to make just enough money to keep doing this content creation thing for a little bit longer, which I was and still am extremely grateful for. Surprisingly, even though I've been gaming for many years at that point, and in fact even owned a copy of the original Half-Life many years prior, I'd never actually played through any of the franchise's single player campaigns. So Black Mesa was my first time experiencing the Half-Life universe, barring maybe the first couple of hours, and I really enjoyed it. So much so that I went on to do a Let's Play for each of the games in the series. The reason why I bring this up is because while this video is focusing on the Xen chapters, I honestly believe that Black Mesa, even without them, is an amazing game and well worth a playthrough regardless whether or not you have played any of the originals. I mean look, I can appreciate that Half-Life is basically a national treasure to a lot of long-time PC gamers out there, but if we're going to be honest, the Xen chapters were not exactly the pinnacle of the Half-Life experience. That's not to say that they were bad by any means, it's just they certainly had a few problems. In the original Half-Life, the Xen chapters only made up around 30 or so minutes of the approximately 12-hour long campaign. Just as you're starting to get acclimatized to the alien landscape, you're thrust into a boss battle, and before you know it, it's all over. Along with a rather poor pacing, issues such as a reliance on trial and error and a drop in difficulty left many players feeling more than a little bit underwhelmed by Xen. In many ways, the short length of the Xen chapters ended up being both a blessing and a curse, so I can understand why so many gamers were willing to forgive their absence from Black Mesa for so long. Interestingly, unlike the rest of the game, which follows the template laid out by Half-Life pretty closely, a developer has confirmed that they are looking to cram around 6 hours of gameplay into the Xen chapters alone, which if you think about it, is basically the length of many full-blown single-player releases. When I first heard of this, I was more than a little bit concerned, as I, myself, was one of those people that really did not enjoy my time in Xen. However, having now played through the technical beta a few times, I have to say that I'm actually really excited to get my hands on the full release, and just as importantly, I'm really happy for the developers. This project has been ticking along for 15 years now, and to put that into perspective, that's almost half of my entire lifetime. Sure, they have taken a few liberties here and there, but overall they have remained extremely faithful to the original vision, and they have done an amazing job while they are at it. Xen, however, represents an opportunity for the team to really stretch their creative muscles and flex their mastery of Valve's rather dated source engine. With such a long time having passed since the original Half-Life was released, it comes as no surprise that Black Mesa's graphics look so much better. What is a surprise, however, is how the developers have been able to translate the rather dated source material into something that looks right at home, not only in a modern day game, but also in the Half-Life universe. Xen is a strange place that does not really make all that much sense when looked at through a scientific lens. Also, partly due to being rushed and partly due to technical limitations at the time of release, everything was pretty abstract. There was obviously a lot of hints pointing towards Xen being a very organic place, but at the same time, the visuals were also very barren. Most of the alien feel actually comes from the textures being used on most of the surfaces, which to this very day I'm still not 100% sure what they are supposed to be. Personally, I always got a dream sequence kind of vibe from Xen, and yet the Xen that we see in Black Mesa is much more believable while retaining most of what made Xen Xen. With all that said, I do still have a couple of concerns that hopefully will be addressed before the final release. The biggest of these is the difficulty, or more accurately, the lack of difficulty. Just like in the original Half-Life, you have a jump pack that enables you to dash. This is used a lot in the platform sections, and for that it makes an awful lot of sense. The problem is that you're still able to use this in combat as well, often allowing you to easily dodge incoming damage. There is also, and I never thought I would complain about this in a Half-Life game, a lack of hit scan enemies, meaning that you have the freedom to wander around in the open during fights. To be fair, if this is going to be the 6 or so hours that the developers claim, you could consider this gameplay to be just the starting area, so we could most definitely see the difficulty ramp up. I just worry that with so much freedom of movement being granted to the player, it's going to be really hard to balance for the developers. That said, based on their previous work, I'm sure if anybody's capable, these guys are. With all that said, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. If you like the look of Black Mesa, you are able to pick it up over on Steam for £15 or $20, and honestly, for what you're getting, that is a bargain. But anyway, from myself and everyone here at the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel, thank you so much for watching. If you are new around here, please do consider slapping that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified of our future uploads. Have you ever played the original Half-Life? Are you looking forward to Xen? Let us know in the comment section below. We try to read every single comment, even if we don't always manage to reply. Finally, if you liked the video, then like the video. If you disliked it, then there's a button for that too, and all we ask is that you let us know why in the comments, as if we don't know what we're doing wrong, it's rather difficult to fix. With that said, once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, we will catch you later. Bye bye.